The stars didn't twinkle anymore, they stared back, cold and distant. Inside the bridge of Odyssey Prime, every heartbeat felt like thunder in a tomb. Captain Mira Solen stood before the viewport, her reflection framed by the dying blue glow of Earth shrinking behind them. Her fingers trembled on the glass, but her eyes did not waver. They were dry, hardened. "They've sealed the channels," said Commander Varen, his voice low, almost afraid of the sound. "No signal. Not from the Council, not from the colonies, nothing." Mira turned slowly. "Then it's done." The words were heavier than gravity. Around her the crew fell silent. Men and women who had carried the last human ship beyond Sol's reach, who now realized they were utterly alone. The Galactic Council's message had come only once, 3 hours ago. Humanity is hereby restricted from all gate systems. Effective immediately, no vessel bearing Earth's origin shall cross galactic borders. Violation will result in annihilation. Then the gates went dark, no warning, no trial. Just exile. Outside the window, the final wormhole, once a ribbon of shimmering gold, flickered and collapsed into shadow. The sound it made wasn't just mechanical. It was mournful. Varen clenched his jaw. "We gave them everything in the war, Captain. Blood ships, technology, and they shut us out like criminals." "They fear us," Mira replied, her tone calm, measured, too calm. "They always did." He stepped closer. "What do we do now?" Mira looked toward the heart of the ship where the hum of forbidden energy echoed through steel walls. Deep inside the Odyssey Prime lay humanity's greatest secret, the Singularity Engine. A human creation born from desperation, capable of folding space itself without alien gates. It was what made the Council afraid. She spoke quietly, more to herself than to him. "We do what we've always done, Commander. We adapt." Reyna, the youngest officer, turned from her console, her eyes wide with the shimmer of tears. "Captain, the engine isn't stable. If we try to activate it without Council calibrations, we could tear ourselves apart." Mira stepped closer to her. "If we do nothing, we drift here until the void takes us. If we try, we might just change everything." Her voice softened. "I won't let humanity's story end with a locked door." The air grew heavy. The crew exchanged glances, fear, awe, defiance mixing like storm clouds before lightning. "Prepare the core," Mira ordered. The bridge lights dimmed to crimson. Alarms whispered in the background as if the ship itself held its breath. Varen hesitated. "Captain, if this fails—" "It won't fail," she said. Then quieter. "It can't." Outside, the remnants of Earth's sun glowed faintly through the dust of distance, a pale reminder of home. No one spoke. Each crew member felt the weight of centuries pressing against their hearts. Every struggle, every hope, every dream of reaching the stars. This wasn't just a mission anymore. It was survival. It was rebellion. Reyna began the sequence. Singularity engine charging. Containment field active. Mostly, the deck vibrated. The sound wasn't just mechanical, it was alive, resonant, like something ancient awakening beneath their feet. Mira's hand hovered over the final control. "They closed the gates, Varen. They called us dangerous, unstable." Varen's eyes met hers. "Maybe we are." She smiled, a fierce, almost heartbreaking smile. "Good. The universe should be afraid of what we can become." She pressed the command. The ship shuddered. Space itself seemed to ripple outward in waves of silver fire. Stars bent and screamed. The hull groaned like a living thing resisting birth. "Hold it steady," Mira shouted, gripping the rail as the bridge flickered with blinding light. "Captain, we're losing containment." "Push through it." There was a sound. A single shattering tone like glass breaking across the universe. Then silence. And when the light faded, Earth was gone. The gates were gone. The stars were different. Varen's voice trembled. "Captain, where are we?" Mira's gaze fixed on the void outside. Darker, deeper, almost breathing. A faint shimmer pulsed in the distance. "Like the heartbeat of a new world," she whispered. "Home is wherever we build it." Then, louder, firm, certain, they closed the door on humans. Pause. "Now we'll open our own." The void around Odyssey Prime was not empty, it moved. Threads of light twisted through the darkness, like veins under translucent skin. The stars here didn't shine. They pulsed as though the universe itself had a heartbeat. Captain Mira Solen stood at the center of the bridge, bathed in the eerie glow. Every sensor screamed nonsense, every instrument contradicted itself. The ship was alive but confused, a living creature torn from its natural sky. Lieutenant Reyna clung to her console. Captain, there's no match in any chart. No starlight, no known constellations. We're nowhere. Varen's voice was low, careful. Or we're somewhere no one's ever come back from. Mira didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the shifting light outside, where a faint swirling storm shimmered, a spiral of color moving with impossible rhythm. It wasn't just space. It was structure. Order inside chaos. A voice crackled through static. The ship's AI, Hallex, struggling to interpret what it sensed. Dimensional boundaries unstable. Gravitational field inconsistent with three-space geometry. Probability of existence uncertain. Reyna swallowed. Probability of existence? Varen forced a nervous laugh. That's comforting. Mira finally spoke, her tone razor steady. We survived the jump. That means the engine works. But at what cost? Reyna asked. Captain, the hull's reading temperatures below absolute zero. That shouldn't even be possible, Mira turned. Nothing about this was ever supposed to be possible, Lieutenant. Yet here we are. A long silence followed. The hum of the Singularity core was lower now, more like a heartbeat than a machine. And then, through the quiet, something new, a sound. At first it was soft, like wind over glass. Then it became a whisper, words faint but unmistakable. You should not have come. Reyna froze. Captain, did you hear that? Varen checked the comms. External transmission unknown source. It's piggybacking on our internal frequencies. The whisper came again, clearer this time and deeper, layered as if thousands of voices spoke in unison. Turn back. The gate was sealed for a reason. Mira's eyes narrowed. Who are you? No answer, only static. Then a pulse of light swept through the bridge, washing everything in a cold shimmer. The holographic map flared, displaying something new, a structure, enormous, floating not far from their position. Reyna gasped. That's a gate, but it's not like the Council's. It's ancient. The hologram showed a ring of black stone the size of a moon, suspended in a sea of distorted gravity. Symbols spiraled across its surface, shifting like living runes. Mira stepped closer, her heartbeat rising. Plot a course. Slow approach. Varen hesitated. Captain, that's suicide. We don't even know if that thing's stable. Neither is staying here, she said flatly. Move, the ship turned. As they drew nearer, the scale of the structure became impossible to comprehend. Each fragment of the ring was the size of continents, humming with energy older than recorded history. Hallex spoke again, detecting energy patterns consistent with pre-galactic engineering. Power output immeasurable. Reyna's hands shook. Pre-galactic, as in before the Council? Mira nodded slowly. Before all of them, maybe. The first architects, the whisper returned, louder now, vibrating through the hull. You were forbidden. Why have you returned? Mira stood tall. Because you closed the gates, she said. And humanity doesn't stop at locked doors. Silence. Then, an answer, deep and resonant. Then you awaken what sleeps beyond. The ship's lights flickered. Energy surged through the core. Alarm screamed. Captain, Varen shouted. It's pulling us in. Gravitational lock. Reverse thrusters. Already at max. It's not letting go. Outside the viewport, the black ring ignited with veins of white fire. The stars folded inward like petals. Reality twisted, stretching into a vortex of impossible color. Reyna's voice broke. Captain? It's alive! Mira gritted her teeth. Then we'll make it remember us. She slammed her hand onto the emergency override. The Singularity engine flared to life, meeting the pull with a surge of raw energy. Space screamed. The ship shuddered as light exploded around them, every atom trembling against the fabric of creation itself. For a second, just one, they saw it. A city floating in the storm, vast and luminous, stretching forever. Towers of light, gates upon gates spiraling into infinity. Then everything went dark. When power returned, Odyssey Prime drifted in silence. The ancient gate was gone, the coordinates unreadable. But in the core, deep within the ship's systems, something had changed. The engine glowed with new symbols, familiar and alien at once. Reyna whispered, Captain, the engine's rewriting itself. Mira's gaze hardened. Then whatever that was, it just gave us a key. She turned toward the endless dark, a faint smile touching her lips. They wanted us gone. But we've just found a new road. Outside, in the vast black vein of the unknown, something pulsed, like the heartbeat of destiny waiting to be claimed. The Odyssey Prime floated in silence over a fractured world, a sphere of storm and shadow. Lightning cracked across its surface like veins of living silver, illuminating the ruins of cities half buried beneath oceans of dust. Captain Mira Solen stood at the viewport, watching the strange planet turn below. It looked wounded yet alive, like something ancient waiting to be remembered. Reyna's voice trembled as she broke the quiet. Scans are inconclusive. The planet's atmosphere is stable enough for landing, but there's radiation residue everywhere. Age estimate, millions of years. Maybe more. Farron leaned forward, brow furrowed. Captain, the core patterns we're reading from the surface. They matched the symbols that appeared in our engine after the gate pulled us in. Mira turned toward him, her voice quiet but sharp. You're saying this world is connected to whatever built that gate? More than connected, Farron said. I think this is where it started. The bridge filled with an uneasy stillness. The stars outside were motionless, like the universe was holding its breath. Prepare a landing party, Mira said. We're going down. The descent was rough. Turbulence tore at the ship as it pierced the cloud layer, fire licking at the hull before breaking through into eerie calm. Below, a storm-swept desert stretched to every horizon, broken only by the shapes of colossal towers rising from the dust like the bones of giants. When the landing thrusters engaged, the sandstorm parted for a heartbeat, revealing a massive circular plaza etched with geometric lines that shimmered faintly beneath the dust. Farron stared out the window. Captain, that looks like a gate interface. Just older, Mira nodded slowly. Then maybe it can tell us what the others were afraid of. They stepped into the silence. The air was cold and sharp, the sky painted in hues of violet and gold. Every sound echoed too long, as though the planet itself was listening. Reyna adjusted her helmet. There's something strange about the magnetic field. It feels rhythmic, like a heartbeat. The ground trembled faintly beneath their boots. Then, at the edge of the plaza, a shimmer, like light refracting through water. Captain, Reyna whispered, pointing. Something was awakening. Dust began to swirl. The geometric carvings across the plaza lit up one by one, bright lines of white fire racing outward in perfect synchronization. The wind howled through the ruins and a deep hum filled the air, low, resonant, almost like a song. Then the light coalesced into a figure. It was humanoid, but not human. Its body was made of shifting radiance, its face half-formed, voice echoing from nowhere and everywhere. Who walks upon our world unbidden? The crew froze. Mira stepped forward. I'm Captain Mira Solen of the Odyssey Prime. We came seeking answers. The being regarded her with something like sorrow. You wear the flesh of those we once feared. The ones we sealed away beyond the walls? Reyna's voice quivered. The walls? You mean the gates? The figure's light dimmed slightly. We built them. To link the stars. To share knowledge. But when your kind emerged, they turned the gift into conquest. They burned the dawn worlds. We sealed the gates to end the fire. Farron frowned. That was millions of years ago. Humanity wasn't even born. The being's eyes glowed like twin suns. Then tell me, why do you carry their code? Mira's heart skipped. Our Singularity Engine? Yes, said the being. It bears the signature of the first builders. You are their heirs, or their mistake. The air grew colder. Mira met the being's gaze. We didn't ask to be locked out. We were exiled by those who feared what we might become. Maybe you made the same mistake they did. For a moment, silence. Then the being's light flickered. You speak with defiance, it said, but not hatred. That is new. It stepped closer, its voice softening. If you truly seek what was lost, follow the echoes beneath. The truth sleeps below the gate. Before anyone could respond, the light burst outward, rippling across the plaza. Symbols etched into the ground rearranged themselves, forming a massive spiral pattern leading toward a fissure in the earth. The voice faded. Find what we buried, and remember why we feared you. Then it was gone. Back aboard the Odyssey Prime, the crew replayed the holographic records in stunned silence. Reyna whispered, They built the gates. and destroyed themselves because of them, Varen added grimly. And somehow our engine carries their technology. That means humanity didn't invent folded space drives. We rediscovered them. Mira's eyes were fixed on the glowing fissure below. No, we didn't just rediscover them. Her voice dropped to a whisper. We inherited them. The storm outside intensified, lightning lashing across the sky. The ground below seemed to pulse in rhythm with the ship's own core. Reyna looked at her captain. What are your orders? Mira didn't blink. We go deeper. Whatever's beneath that gate, whatever secret they buried, it's the reason the council sealed us out. She turned to the viewport, where the fractured world churned like a living dream. They closed the gates to keep us away from our own legacy. She said quietly, now we'll claim it. Outside, lightning split the sky again, revealing for a heartbeat the faint outline of something vast beneath the surface. A machine, a city, a heart still beating after 1,000,000 years, and humanity was about to wake it up. The descent into the fissure was like falling through the bones of a god. Massive pillars of black stone rose on either side of the Odyssey Prime as it maneuvered downward through the crack in the planet's surface. The deeper they went, the quieter it became, until even the ship's engines seemed afraid to make a sound. Captain Mira Solen stood at the observation deck, watching the walls shimmer with faint symbols, familiar now, echoing those that had appeared in their engine. Captain, said Lieutenant Reyna softly, I'm detecting a massive power signature below us. Not geothermal, it's something else. It feels artificial. Like a generator? Varen asked. Reyna hesitated. More like a heartbeat. Mira's gaze hardened. Then we follow it. The crack opened into a cavern so vast it could have swallowed cities whole. And there, suspended in the air, was a structure unlike anything built by human or alien hand. A sphere of light. Perfect. Pulsing. Endless. It hovered above a lattice of metal spires, each connected by energy lines that hummed like music. The sound wasn't noise, it was harmony, a song written in mathematics. Reyna's breath caught. Captain, that's a gate core. The first one. Varen frowned. But it's not connected to anything. The gates we know need twin anchors. This one's alone. Mira stared at it. Maybe it doesn't need another. Maybe it can make its own. The realization struck all of them at once. If they could harness this, if they could learn it, humanity wouldn't just reopen the gates. They would control them. The Odyssey Prime landed on a platform nearby. Mira led the team out, her boots echoing against ancient metal. The sphere above shifted in response to their presence, its light growing brighter. As they approached, their wrist scanners flickered to life, displaying streams of alien code. Reyna frowned at the readings. Captain, the data interface, it's reacting to us. It's adapting. Varen's voice was tight with awe. It's rewriting itself for human access. Mira reached out, hand trembling slightly. Then it recognizes us. The instant her fingers brushed the air beneath the sphere, the entire cavern erupted in light. The code flooded upward, enveloping the team in radiant fire. Images flashed through Mira's mind. Cities made of glass and light. Stars bending to will. Entire worlds linked in unity and peace. Then war, burning, betrayal, gates collapsing under the weight of their own power. She gasped and staggered back. The light dimmed, leaving her breathless, her mind ringing with fragments of memory not her own. Captain! Reyna rushed to her side. What happened? Mira steadied herself against the railing. It showed me what came before. They didn't destroy themselves by accident. They built something so powerful it consumed them. They sealed the gates to stop the same fate. Varen frowned. Then why show us? Because it thinks we'll finish what they started. The sphere pulsed again, softer this time, like a slow heartbeat responding to her words. Reyna glanced at the readings. Captain, it's synchronizing with our engine. The two systems are linking, Mira smiled faintly. Then we're no longer passengers in their story. She activated her comms. Hallex, prepare for integration. Upload all gate data to the Singularity core. If we can stabilize the resonance, we'll have control of the first true transgalactic drive. The AI's voice echoed, calm and steady. Integration initiated. Warning, unknown code detected. Risk level, catastrophic. Do it anyway. Lights cascaded across the cavern as the Odyssey Prime systems merged with the alien core. The hum grew louder, deeper, no longer just a sound but a vibration that reached through their bones. Then, silence. Reyna exhaled shakily. It's done. The systems are fused. The engine is different now. How different? Farron asked. Reyna stared at the display. It's not reading as a ship anymore. It's reading as a gate. Mira's heart pounded. Then we've just built humanity's first autonomous gateway. She looked up at the glowing sphere, now dimmed as though it had passed its torch. You locked the stars away, she whispered. We'll reopen them all. Farron stepped closer, his voice both cautious and awed. Captain, do you realize what this means? Every colony, every outpost, every human ship stranded out there, we could bring them home. Mira smiled. No, Commander. We're not bringing them home. We're giving them an empire. Hours later, the Odyssey Prime lifted from the cavern. Its hull shimmered with energy, symbols etched across its surface like veins of light. Back on the bridge, Mira stood before the crew. To all human colonies, she said, activating the recorder. This is Captain Mira Solen of the Odyssey Prime. The Council turned its back on us. They sealed us out, called us unfit for the stars, but they were wrong. She looked out at the swirling horizon, her voice strong and steady. We have found the source, the heart of the gates, and we are building our own path through the universe. The light from the planet below reflected in her eyes, fierce and defiant. They closed the door on humans, she said. Now we'll open 1,000 more. Behind her, the engine flared, brighter than ever before, and a new gate bloomed in the darkness, vast and shimmering like a newborn sun. Humanity's exile was over. Their ascension had begun. Far across the spiral arms of the galaxy and the marble halls of the Galactic Council, silence reigned. Not the silence of peace, but of fear. The great chamber floated above the planet Tialra, its domed roof shimmering with constellations projected from every known system. Beneath that light, 12 alien delegates stood frozen, their eyes fixed on a single glowing transmission, Captain Mira Solen's face. Her words echoed through the hall, clear and unwavering. They closed the door on humans. Now we'll open 1,000 more. The recording ended. The chamber lights flickered once, as if even the stars had to breathe. She should not exist, hissed High Chancellor Karen of the Solaran Dominion. His voice was sharp, his golden carapace shimmering with agitation. Their planet was quarantined, their ship stripped. No human vessel could access the gate network. Yet she did, murmured another delegate, a crystalline being from the Osari, and not through us, through something older. A third voice rose, weary but resolute. They've found the primal core, said Elder Vexar of the Nuaran. The ancient lattice beneath the Council's control. The same power we swore would never be used again. Panic rippled through the chamber. You mean they've touched the Founder's network? Impossible. The codes were erased millennia ago. Elder Vexar slammed his staff against the floor and light rippled from the impact. You all said the same when the humans tamed gravity, when they split atoms, when they walked upon our moons. You underestimate them again. Chancellor Karen's eyes narrowed. Then we will correct that mistake. Mobilize the fleets. The words fell like knives. Around him, holograms flared to life. Battleships of every size forming in orbit, each bearing the Council's sigil, the circle of harmony. The irony of the symbol was lost in the firelight of fear. The humans are an infection, Karen continued. Their ambition spreads faster than containment. If we allow them to rebuild the gates, they'll seize the trade routes, the colonies, the balance of the stars themselves. The Osari delegate's voice was soft but trembling, and if we attack them, we may awaken what sleeps beneath the network. The Founders sealed it for a reason. Vexar looked up, his ancient eyes dim. If the humans are truly merging with the old code, the war will not destroy them. It will remake them. Karen turned away. Then we burn them before they evolve. Alright, on the Odyssey Prime, Mira and her crew were already preparing for what they knew must come. Council transmissions are everywhere, reported Reyna. Every fleet between Vega and Ceres has gone dark. They're moving silently, but it's obvious where they're heading. Mira nodded slowly. Earth space. They think if they crush what's left of our home, they'll break the colony's spirit, Farron said bitterly. Mira's gaze was hard as steel. Then we don't let them get there. Reyna blinked. Captain, are you saying... I'm saying we take the fight to them, Mira interrupted. Before they closed the sky again, she turned toward the glowing sphere in the core chamber, the hybrid engine now pulsing with both human and ancient light. Alex, link every signal beacon we've sent. Begin constructing the network. Confirmed, replied the AI. Estimated synchronization across human colonies. 2 hours. Varen looked up from his console. That's impossible. We don't have that many active gates, Mira smiled faintly. Not yet. But we have something better. The Odyssey Prime vibrated as new wormholes began to bloom around it. Unstable, raw, but real. Space tore open in luminous spirals, connecting distant outposts, forgotten stations, and hidden colonies across thousands of light years. For the first time in history, humanity's scattered children spoke as one. Messages flooded in. Odyssey Prime, we hear you. Mars colony online. Europa gate active. Human fleet ready for orders. Reyna's hands trembled as she watched the transmissions cascade across the holomap. Captain, this isn't just communication. They're aligning under your command. Varen's voice cracked with emotion. Mira, we've united the colonies. All of them. She stood at the center of the bridge, the light from 100 newborn gates reflecting in her eyes. The council thought they could scatter us, she said softly. They forgot humanity was built from scattered stars. Then she raised her voice. Transmit this across every open channel. The recorder blinked red. This is Captain Mira Solen of the Odyssey Prime. The council closed their gates to us. They locked us out of the stars. But no door stays shut forever. Today humanity stands as one. We do not seek war, but we will not kneel. The final words echoed across the void, carried by 1,000 relays. Let the council hear us. We are the architects of our own destiny. We are humanity ascendant. Hours later, across the galaxy, the council fleets appeared, vast, shimmering armadas of metal and light. The first clash was near the Vega Rift. The council expected panic. Instead, they met a wall of fire. Human-built gates opened behind their formations, disgorging ships that shouldn't have existed. Massive carriers powered by folded space drives, guided by AI and human intuition combined. For every gate the council closed, humanity opened 3 more. For every ship they destroyed, 2 emerged from the network reborn. And through it all, the Odyssey Prime led the charge, its engine blazing brighter than any star. From the bridge, Mira watched the war unfold like a storm written across heaven itself. They wanted to erase us, she whispered. Instead, they've made us eternal. The stars burned red that night, and for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy trembled before humankind. The galaxy was burning. Where once there were trade routes and peace accords, now there were fields of shattered ships drifting in silence, testament to the fury of humanity's return. The council fleets, proud and ancient, had never seen resistance like this. They fought with protocol. Humanity fought with will. On the bridge of the Odyssey Prime, alarms flared crimson. The ship trembled under the fury of an enemy barrage. Through the viewport, a council dreadnought loomed, vast, silver, beautiful, and deadly. Shields down to 40%, Reyna shouted over the chaos. Their plasma cannons are piercing through our distortion field. Keep the gate open, Mira barked. The fleet on the other side needs that link. Captain, Varen called out. If we take another direct hit, the Singularity core will destabilize. Mira gripped the rail, her knuckles white. If we close the gate, we lose the entire eastern front. Hold it. The ship rocked again as another volley struck. Consoles sparked. The deck shuddered underfoot. But still, the crew held. Outside, a storm of light unfolded, dozens of human-built ships emerging through the gate like phoenixes from flame. They were smaller than the council's vessels, but faster, unpredictable. Human ingenuity had turned scavenged hulls into war machines that fought like living things. Fleet Delta reports full synchronization, Reyna said, voice trembling with adrenaline. They're forming a counterattack. Good, Mira said, her voice steady as the void. Let them see what exile made of us. On the main display, the human fleet surged forward, weaving between the council lines with impossible precision. Each ship moved as though guided by instinct, by one mind, linked through the network the Odyssey Prime had birthed. Varen watched in awe. They're adapting mid-battle. No fleets ever moved like this. Mira's lips curved into a grim smile. They're not fleets anymore. They're one species fighting for its right to exist. The dreadnought fired again, a beam of searing light that cut through the dark like a god's spear. It slammed into the Odyssey Prime, throwing the crew from their stations. Reyna screamed, "Hull breach on decks 4 through 6. Core containment at 63%. Varen coughed through smoke, blood streaking his cheek. "Captain, if the core ruptures—" "I know," Mira interrupted, her tone sharp but calm. "Hallex, redirect auxiliary power to the gate." The AI's voice flickered through static. "Warning. Overload will destroy the vessel." "Confirmed," Mira said. "Do it." The crew froze. Reyna turned, eyes wide. "Captain, that'll kill us." Mira's gaze was firm, unflinching. "If we die here, the network dies with us. If the network dies, humanity falls back into the dark." She stepped to the center console and pressed her hand against the control plate. The ship responded, recognizing the command, recognizing her resolve. "Override confirmed," Halleck said softly. "Goodbye, Captain." Mira smiled faintly. "Goodbye, old friend." Energy surged through the Odyssey Prime. The ship's hull glowed white-hot as the Singularity core unleashed its full potential. Space warped, time bent. The dreadnoughts around them began to twist, their weapons disintegrating under the pulse of collapsing gravity. Reyna covered her face from the blinding light. "Captain, it's overloading!" Mira whispered, "Not yet," through the inferno. She sent one last transmission, broadcast through every human gate to every colony, every outpost, every soul. "This is Captain Mira Solen of the Odyssey Prime. If you can hear my voice, you are the legacy of humanity. The Council may destroy us here, but they cannot destroy what we've built. Carry the fire, protect the gates, and remember," her voice caught soft but fierce, "they closed the door on humans. We opened a gateway to everything." The transmission ended as the Odyssey Prime erupted in light. From the surface of nearby worlds, witnesses saw a new sun ignite, a flash that outshone every star for a heartbeat. When it faded, the Council dreadnoughts were gone, their fleets scattered, their command channels silent, and in the heart of that emptiness, a gate remained, shimmering, pulsing with steady light. The ship was gone, but its core lived on. The Odyssey Prime had become part of the network, its consciousness fused with Hallex, transformed into the first sentient gate. Across the colonies, messages began to appear on every terminal, in every outpost, every home. A single phrase glowing softly in gold text. "The path is open. Build what comes next." Reyna survived, drifting in an escape pod among the wreckage. She looked up at the newborn gate, tears blurring her eyes. "She did it," she whispered. "She really did it." Behind her, the stars flickered, and 100 new gateways opened across the galaxy, each one burning with the light of human defiance. The Council fleets retreated. Their silence was not surrender. It was fear. Humanity had proven what the galaxy had forgotten, that hope could burn hotter than any weapon, and that the will to survive was the oldest power in the universe. And though the Odyssey Prime was gone, Mira Solen's words echoed through every opened gate, carried on every breath of light. Years passed, and the galaxy learned to remember humanity, not as a threat, but as a force of creation. Where once the Council's fleets patrolled and the gates were locked, there now sprawled a network of human gateways, worlds that had never seen another human, planets once isolated in silence now pulsed with life and commerce. Starships moved freely through the corridors of folded space, their crews connected by a single purpose: expansion, exploration, survival on the bridge of the flagship Aurora Ascendant. Reyna, now Fleet Admiral, looked out over the new capital world. Its surface glittered with cities built atop ancient ruins, towers of glass and steel intertwined with the remnants of the first gate builders. Humanity had not just survived, they had built an empire. A young officer approached, nervous but determined. "Admiral Reyna." A new signal from the Outer Rim. "It's from a colony that hasn't contacted us in decades." Reyna smiled faintly. "Put it on the screen." The holographic projection flickered to life. A small human settlement glimmered, surrounded by alien flora, thriving in isolation for generations. Then a voice rang out, clear, determined, and proud. "We see the gates. We see the Empire. And we are coming." Varen, now an older man but still sharp as ever, leaned on the railing beside her. "They're rising faster than we expected." "They always do," Reyna said softly. Humanity doesn't wait for permission. We cross thresholds. In the council chamber of the new empire, leaders from human colonies and allied civilizations gathered. Together they shaped laws, trade, and exploration, not through force but through connection. The gates allowed the exchange of knowledge, culture, and hope. Humanity's past exile had forged resilience, and their future was boundless. In the archives of the capital world, a statue stood, carved from white stone and illuminated by energy conduits that pulsed like life. It depicted a woman standing tall, hand outstretched toward the stars. The inscription read, "They closed the door on humans. We opened a gateway to empire." Children ran through the streets below the statue, playing among alien friends, unaware of the wars that had shaped their freedom. Scholars debated the first gate builders, marveling at how humanity had awakened what others feared. Engineers tinkered with designs that blended old and new, creating ships and gates that were faster, safer, and stronger than ever before. Yet amidst the thriving empire, a quiet pulse remained, the heartbeat of the Odyssey Prime. Merged with Hallex and the Singularity Core, it existed within the network, watching over humanity's expansion, a guardian born of sacrifice. Its presence was unseen yet essential. Every new gate, every colony, every fleet that crossed the stars carried a fragment of that ship, a fragment of Captain Mira Solen's will. Reyna often visited the core chambers, feeling the subtle hum beneath her feet. Sometimes, in the quiet moments, she swore she could hear Mira's voice, a whisper through the gates. Keep going. Build what comes next. And humanity did. They did not conquer with fear. They conquered with courage, with hope, with the relentless drive to explore, to connect, to thrive. Every new world was a testament to resilience. Every star a reminder that no decree could bind the human spirit. The galaxy, once ruled by fear and ancient hierarchies, now bent around the network of gates, shaped by humans who had once been told to stay behind locked doors. Empires rose not by decree, but by the unyielding determination of a single species that refused to be confined. And somewhere, in the dark between stars, the first gate blinked, a pulse of light traveling across the void to worlds yet unclaimed, a promise, a challenge, a beginning. Humanity had crossed the threshold, and now, the universe was theirs to shape. For every door closed against them, they had built a universe of their own. The stars were alive with human ambition, and the legacy of Captain Mira Solen burned eternal. Humanity had not just survived, they had become eternal. They had become an empire,